So, during the greatest time of the history of Genshin, version 1.3, thank you Lance and Right for the 10 pulls, we love you. I made a tier list on the characters, ranked, and how good I thought they were, and let me tell you, some of them were pretty good, but some positions I put in were pretty stinky. Why did I put Chi-Chi in S tier? What was the point there? Why did I do this? I put Zhangling in B, okay. But after a while, you know, new information, you know, new team comps have come out, you know, and even new characters. I think it's time. 2.3, you know, I mean, it wasn't 10 updates, they both ended in 0.3, but, you know, it's close enough. Let's make another tier list on characters. And I'm going to say anything, I'll make a disclaimer before I make anything on this tier list. This is my opinion. If you disagree, that is perfectly fine and valid for you to disagree with me here, okay? Just don't be angry. So, yeah. If you guys enjoyed today's video and you want to help me out, you can feel free to sub, because only 1% of people who watch the videos are subscribed. Pretty solid number there. If you want to support me, you can feel free to, but let's get into it. Right, I've added a tier S+ this time because there's a lot of characters this time, including Kazuha twice. I mean, I guess this person might be a Kazuha Albedo fan, I don't know, but let's start off with the Traveler. Now, the Traveler, they're okay. I'm still going to put them on C tier because whilst they're okay, they don't really do much. I mean, they're good in Geo. Their Electro form is a bit air. Their Animo form, very air. You know, there's a lot of better options available, but Traveler is solid. But that still doesn't mean I'm going to put them, you know, any higher than C, because I just don't think they're really that good or useful, apart from the Geo Traveler, because the Geo Traveler is actually really cool. But Albedo, again, right, Albedo is a really good support, but he's more of like a switch on, you do his thing, then switch off like character. And his Geo constructs are useful, his burst does a decent amount of damage, you can even shield crystallize. He's on a fine line between A and S right now. I'm going to put him in A, but he could move up to S later on. Like, he's a very high A tier. Amber, right. Ayaka, okay, maybe I should mention about Amber, right? Amber, I love her. Design-wise, A+, S tier design. You know, absolutely love her for what she is. But she doesn't really have high damage, you know, damage ratios. And her taunt, it scales off of her HP, which, bit weird. But her burst is also pretty good for power application, but there is a lot better options for, because you can only have 4 people on a team, right? There's a lot better options for characters. And Amber, this ain't it, you know? Ayaka, I'm going to say S+, because she just does a lot of damage. Her burst is really strong with some, like, other characters. Like, you can use her as a support, like, with her burst, or you can use her as a main damage dealer with her burst. She can do freeze, she can do vaporize. Actually, no, she can't do vaporize. No, she can, I mean, melt. I meant melt. It's the same thing, really, if you think about it. But she can freeze and she can melt, and that gives her a lot of options for, like, other teammates. Like, for example, you can run, like, Mona, you can run Kokomi, or even you can also run Garnya with her. You can run a lot of other characters with Ayaka, and her burst just does a lot of damage. And the main thing people use her for is her burst, or her charge attack has some really good numbers. Her ES, she's some overall good ratios as well. So I can keep the S+. Barbara, B, she's really cool. Apart from power, she freezes me to death. So yeah, that's the only annoying thing. And gameplay-wise, freezing very bad. Beidou, really solid electro supports. I think there's better electro supports, but Beidou is a really good one that works really well with other characters. And you know what? I wouldn't go as far as say she could be an S tier, you know. She could be an S tier support because of how good her burst is. The only character it doesn't work with is Raiden Shogun, but you know, it is what it is. Right, S+ tier. You know, we don't even need to say much about Bennett. He's just a healer. He has really good power application. He can increase your attack, which is a lot. Like, nothing about, like, you can also put the blast on and that's even more. Yeah, Bennett overall, S+ tier. There is no argument about this. Moving on, Chongyon. I'm gonna say C. Right. Now listen. Before anyone gets angry, because he is on the national team. Chongyon works really well with Xingqiu, but that's mainly what he works well with. Because he's cryo, the only reactions Chongyon has access to is, like, he has access to pyro, you know, well, Pyro to do Melt. He can't do Superconduct because his main source of damage is Cryo damage. Because his field converts his attack into Cryo. It's sort of like Bennett C6, but it converts it to Cryo. But, I mean, what else can he really do? Swirl, Crystallize, they don't really work. Freeze, you know, that's what he does with Xingqiu. So he doesn't really have access to too many things here. So I'm going to keep him at C because he's good, but you can only do one or two things with him, and that's why he doesn't really have much versatility in his gameplay. Diluc, I'm going to say high A, S minus. Like, he was the OG. He is the OG damage dealer. He still can do a lot of damage, but he is outclassed quite a lot these days by other characters. So I'm going to say he's A because, yeah, I mean, he's also got like an Unga Bunga playstyle, but that doesn't really factor into his ranking. Diona, she's a good healer. If you got her C6, she can give you Elemental Mastery as well. And she's also a shielder. I mean, healer and shielder in one combo is really strong, so I'm going to say S again. Like, she's not meant to be a damage dealer, but she can shield you and heal you. And that's a really good, like, form of, like, you know, supportive healing and shielding, because it's 2 in 1. You know, you get a 2 in 1 thing there. Visual, C6 Visual, very fun. I don't have it, but even C0 Visual is really good. The whole turret place, you know, it's literally just a turret. It's 3 damage, 3 reactions. Visual, S, you know, S tier, easily. Ganyu. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Ganyu is S tier, like S+. Again, she can do a lot of damage. Her burst is really good at just, you know, dealing consistent cryo damage. Like, it's a bit inconsistent because it is, you know, icicles from the sky that fall in random places, but again, it is decent cryo application with her burst, and it can be good for doing reactions. So I'm going to say Ganyu S+. Hu Tao can also be S+, because, again, Hu Tao is really popular, mainly because of her high damage numbers that she can do, especially with her burst. Her burst has some really high numbers. You know, she converts her, you know, RHP into, you know, Pyro normal attacks. Overall, Hu Tao, very high damage dealer, probably some of the highest in Genshin Impact. I'm pretty sure, still is. But yeah, Jean S. She has cleanse, I believe. She also does healing, and she's also a decent animo damage dealer. She can be S. Kaya A. He's underrated. I did put him in C originally, but Kaya is actually quite an underrated character. His burst and his cry application is actually really good, and it's also got some, you know, not randomly high numbers, but like decently high numbers on his ratios there. So Kaya can be an A. Keqing, right, I'm gonna say it. I put her on S originally. Well, you know, S, but you know, there was no S plus when I made this. S. I'm gonna say she is A with Diluc. Now, Keqing, one of the most fun characters to play in Genshin Impact, but that being said, you know, despite having all this versatility, she doesn't have the high numbers that everyone else has, and also she does require a bit of stamina management, which in some cases it isn't the greatest to manage her stamina. So I'm gonna say she's high A, maybe even like low S for the minute. You know, then there's Klee. There's gonna be a lot of A tiers. That's what I'm saying. Like, thinking there's gonna be a lot of A tiers in this video, because like Klee, again, she's really good, she's really fun, but you need to do, well, a lot of people like to animation counts with her to maximize her damage, which, I mean, it's personally not my kind of thing, but again, she's a solid main DPS, 80, you know. Lisa can get in the C. Lumine is also the same tripping as the Traveler. Mona, I'm gonna say, is S and S+, because Mona really works with anyone. Mona works with anyone and anything, really. Her burst is good for just increasing your burst, your other character's damage, and her taunt, basically it's just constant Hydra application in a taunt, you know, which is great for these Vaporize or Freeze team, or especially good for Freeze teams. So like Mona works great with Ganyu, Ayaka. I mean, you could even technically do Chongyon as well. So yeah, overall Mona's very good. Ningguang, I love her. I'm gonna say high A, right? Now listen, she isn't, you know, the biggest damage dealer in the world, but for a Geo character, you know, she is a very solid Geo DPS option, and I respect the hustle, you know. Ningguang is just very strong overall. So I'm going to say A, because you can do some monstrous things with her. Noelle, sorry buddy, you gotta go to B. I love her, she's a great shielder, but, you know, Noelle, you need to put a lot of investment to do a lot of damage with her. So I'm going to say B for, you know, B. But if you can put in the investment, she can easily rise up higher. Chi-Chi, okay, she was an S tier, right? Let's be honest here. Okay, she isn't on the same level as Barbara, because Barbara can freeze you. I would say very low A Chi-Chi, because all she can do is heal, and that is... And whilst originally I was like, that's brilliant, she can just heal. You know, we've moved past the point of that, and... You know, healers can be shielders, and you need a lot more than healing nowadays. Because there is... Well, actually no, it was originally healing, then it was shielding, and I was going back to healing and shielding because there's like enemies that can like cut through shields. So yeah, but the main problem is Chi-Chi doesn't do much damage, and her like cryo application isn't that good to begin with because you have to be up in their faces to do it. So anyone that works at range, Chi-Chi doesn't really work very well at that. Razor's a solid physical DPS. You know, I go as far as to say high B. He's very good, but there is a lot better, if you know what I mean. Sucrose can increase elemental mastery, and that's her main buff. She can do a lot of swirl reactions, but very resistant to lower physical, well not physical, elemental res. Sucrose is going to be S because of that. I think she's pretty decent with her crowd control, and also she can give you elemental mastery, which increases your reaction damage. Overall pretty good. Tartaglia, S, maybe low S, high A. Only because you got to manage his cooldowns, which, A, you know, if you can get that down, he's very good. But he also requires a lot of reaction, like, based compositions. Like, he works very well with fireworks, so you'd probably want like a Albedo or a Raiden Shogun with him to do a lot of electrocharge damage. But, you know, with good investment, you can make Tartaglia really good. Venti, I don't know if he's... I'm going to say low S+, right? Venti is still strong. He's not as prominent nowadays because the Inazuma enemies are heavy, so therefore they don't get crowd control by Venti as easily, but for like most like things, Venti is still pretty decent. I would love to get a Venti one day, so yeah, I mean, he's good with Viridescent, you know, he's got a very low energy cost, he's got good crowd control, maybe apart from the new Inazuma stuff, but you know, even then, I'd still say he's a strong character, not the strongest by any means nowadays, but he is still very good, so S+. Xiangling is high S because, look, I didn't realise that, you know, Xiangling was as good as she was, right? Turns out Xiangling is really strong, all polearms seem to work for her. There's a new Emblem of Seven Fate, you know, the Emblem of Seven Fates that you put it on her, she can do, like, a lot of reaction-based damage, especially with Tartaglia. Like, that's another composition that works really well. She can do Melt, she can do Vaporize. Xiangling is just very good at what she does. And also, like, she can gain more energy when she's on or off the field. So, I mean, overall, very good. Zhao, I'm going to say high S. I mean, personally, I believe he's a bit clunky, but if you build your Zhao right, Zhao can do a lot of damage, and some people genuinely love him. So, I'm going to say S because of his strength. Xingqiu, S+. Again, he works with most comps. Literally, Xingqiu can vaporize, he can freeze, he can do electrocharge reactions. Like, he's a very good applier of just doing hydro damage and doing additional hydro damage. And overall, that's a pretty good support. Like, he is used in most teams, so S+. Xinyan can get in the bin. Sorry, Xinyan lovers, but listen, she's a weird, like, she's got the stats of a physical damage dealer, but her main like thing is defense, making pyro shields. It doesn't make much sense to me, so Xinyan get in the C tier. Zhongli, I'm gonna go as far as say S+. Like, his shield is that good. You don't really need anything else on your team because of how strong it is. Now there are new enemies to counter Zhongli, but like even then, like most, like, you know, if you're running Bennett as well on your team, like, you don't really need to worry about, like, you don't do anything like cut through shield. So Zhongli, S+, you can shield literally most things in the game, you know, still most things in the game. Very strong shield, very unga bunga, S+, easy. Rosaria, decent cryo application, decent supportive application as well, by increasing crit rate based on hers. I'm gonna give her middle of A tier. Yeah, middle of A tier, very good. Eula, actually, no, she's not a bottom of S, is she? No, she's a middle of S. Like, she's a fun physical damage dealer. She's definitely a lot better than Razor. But her burst is a tiny bit clunky, but it does one-shot everything, so I don't see what people are complaining about. Eula, middle of S, decent character. Yanfei, I'd say she's low of A. She is a very decent damage dealer, but by no means is she, like, the best, you know? Like, Klee's better than Yanfei, you know what I mean? But Yanfei is just a fun pyro version of Ningguang. That can do decent damage. Kazuha, middle of S, he's very fun. He can lower res with Iridescent, like that. He can also crowd control really easily. And his burst increases your elemental damage based on his elemental mastery. So, just like elemental mastery, do a lot of swell damage, increase your elemental damage a lot. Kazuha all around, solid S plus character. Moving on. Yoimiya, right. Bottom of S. Now, there's a lot of problems with Yoimiya. Now, I don't really understand this whole internal cooldown debate, but with the whole, like, you know, spamming with the bow, the problem is if the enemy runs away or it's inaccurate, you just do no damage. So, fortunately, it's a very fun damage dealer. Like, she isn't the best, and I have to accept that. She can maybe be a bottom of S or like a top of A tier character. Moving on, Sayu, B. Now, while, like, she's fun, don't get me wrong, Sayu rolls around, does her little thing. She even, like, sometimes like her little, like, Muji Dharma little thing as well. She's fun, but I've never really seen a use for her. She doesn't, I've never really seen anyone else use her. She's just sort of there, but that's cool, you know, she's there. She's there for someone to play with, you know, she's fun. But for now, B tier, Rain Shogun, high S, because she's got good utility. She can provide some form of electro application, which isn't as strong as Fischl. We need to get that in mind. It's not as strong as Fischl, it's not as strong as Beidou, but the main thing is, she's got a good energy recharge as well. She can recharge the energy recharge for your team. However, though, she does need a lot of, like, energy recharge for the whole team. Like, the whole team needs to have some, like, high-costing bursts for her burst to do a bit more damage. But being able to get other teammates' bursts up a lot quicker is a very nice thing to have. So I'm going to say high S for her there. Kujo Sara, A. She's like Bennett, but she's a lot more clunkier. And that's that. She can also increase the electro crit damage if you're, like, C6. But again, who is that really going to work for? Probably the Raiden Shogun, and that's that. Kokomi. Right. Solid healer. I'm going to say top of A. She's a solid healer. Actually, no. Maybe I didn't even go as far as say S. You know, Kokomi is a really good healer. She can provide decent cryo application, which is similar to Mona's, but not as good. And she heals. So, like, if you want to swap out Mona for Kokomi, it's definitely a possible option. However, though, I feel like the Hydra application might be a bit, like, slightly worse, but that's my take on it. Feel free to let me know in the comments, because this is when I stop. This is about when I stopped playing Genshin, so I don't really know too much about, like, the meta or whatever it is. Okay, Aloy, you're decent, but no, nobody uses you, mate. Get in C. You can do a lot of damage, but that's, like, at a push. Toma, middle of B. He's a decent shielder, but his damage numbers kind of suck ass. So you know what? Stay in B. Literally, I've not seen anyone build you, and I've seen more people complain about building you than actually, you know, using you. Right, Arataki Ito, you're new. You do a decent amount of damage, right? As far as I'm aware, you know, he's a decent damage dealer. I'm gonna say middle of S, because I don't know his true potential yet. Guro, again, near the bottom of A. He's a good character with a good design, but the problem is that he needs, like, it's a very situational character where you need to have 3 Geo characters on your team to get the full effect. And while that's kind of cool, it doesn't really leave much room for changing up your team a little bit right now, especially given the fact that there's not too many Geo characters. How many Geo characters are there again, actually? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe Traveler 6. You know, there's not too many Geo characters to work around with, so, you know, he's going to be, like, bottom of A. Now, I should probably reorganize the tier list and make it a bit. Actually, no. Do I even like reorganize it? I mean, most of it seems to be pretty like all right. Yeah, it seems right to me. But yeah, this is my garbage take. Let me know down below. What do you guys think? Is there anyone that you swap around? Because there probably is, and I'd probably even go as far to as agree with you if you like tell me what you'd think you would swap around. But yeah, I hope you're having a great day, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you guys in another video really soon. Have a lovely day, everyone. See ya.